Many people who set foot on this bizarre island have disappeared forever, leaving only enigmatic traces and disturbing theories about their fates. What happened to them remains one of the greatest mysteries in modern history. Today, you will learn some terrifying discoveries. Curious? Join us and let's go. Number 14. The island that appears and disappears. In the Pacific Ocean, between Japan and South Korea, there is an island that disappears and reappears every 50 years. Nishinoshima Island was first documented in 1820, then disappeared in 1870, reappeared in 1920, disappeared again in 1970, and returned in 2020. Each time it reappears, it is a different size and shape. The craziest thing is that there is no underwater volcano there to explain the phenomenon. Scientists have already used robotic submarines to explore the seabed and found nothing to explain the disappearance and reappearance of the island. In 2020, when it reappeared, there were ancient buildings on the surface, remains of a temple that no one knew existed. The Japanese Navy maintains a monitoring base near the island. They record crazy anomalies every time the island is about to appear or disappear. Compasses spinning like crazy, electronic equipment stopping working, and a low-pitched, buzzing sound that can be heard for miles. Local fishermen say that in the weeks before the island appears or disappears, all the fish disappear within a 50-kilometer radius. Number 13. The floating girl of the Russian forest. In a snow-covered forest in Russia, a man walking his dog captured a surreal scene on video. A young girl floating in the air, defying all laws of physics. Her mother, standing nearby, watched the scene with a mixture of amazement and concern. The man's dog was the first to notice something strange. The animal ran towards the area where the girl was levitating. When the owner followed the dog, he also witnessed the inexplicable phenomenon. The girl remained suspended above the ground, as if gravity had simply stopped working in that particular spot in the forest. After a few tense moments, mother and daughter fled into the woods, leaving the man and his dog alone with their unanswered questions. Was this an elaborate setup? An optical illusion caused by the snow? If the video is authentic, what mysterious force allowed a child to defy the most basic law of physics? Number 12. The Lost Colony of Roanoke. In 1587, a group of English colonists attempted to create England's first permanent settlement in North America. They settled on Roanoke Island off the coast of North Carolina, full of hope for the New World. Among them was Virginia Dare, the first English child born on American soil. When Governor John White returned to England for supplies, a war with Spain prevented him from returning for 3 years. When he finally returned in 1590, he found the colony completely abandoned. The houses were still there, but there was no sign of the 115 colonists. The only clue was the word Croatoan carved into a post, the name of a nearby island inhabited by Native Americans. Storms prevented White from investigating further, and the fate of the settlers became one of the greatest mysteries in American history. Were they adopted by the Croatoan tribe? Were they attacked? Or did they try to return to England and get lost at sea? I have a question for you. First, I'd like to tell you that it's possible to keep up with the biggest curiosities of our world every day. But for that, you need to be subscribed to our channel. So have you subscribed yet? If not, take the opportunity to subscribe now. Now that you've done that, let's go. Number 11. The Mystery of Oak Island. A small island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, holds one of the world's deadliest secrets. Since 1795, Oak Island has attracted treasure hunters obsessed with the legend of a fortune buried deep within its depths. But the search for this treasure has already exacted a heavy price. 6 lives have been lost in unexplained accidents. It all started when a teenager named Daniel McGuinness noticed a strange circular depression in the ground. Digging revealed an elaborate structure. Every 10 meters down, explorers found oak platforms and stone slabs, as if someone had built a giant underground vault. In 1849, a terrifying discovery was made. Excavations were halted when the tunnels began to fill with seawater. Explosive theories were floated. Could it be the resting place of pirate treasure, Marie Antoinette's lost jewels, or even sacred artifacts like the Holy Grail? Even with modern technology, powerful pumps, industrial drills, and excavators, no one has been able to solve the mystery. Strange symbols engraved on stones have only fueled speculation. In 1897, an explosion killed a worker. In 1965, another drowned. But even death cannot keep away treasure hunters, mesmerized by the promise of unimaginable riches. Number 10. The Dancing Lights of Brown Mountain. Deep in the mountains of North Carolina, a light show has intrigued visitors for hundreds of years. The famous brown mountain lights appear without warning, dancing across the night sky like ghostly balls of fire that change color and size. The Cherokee, who have lived in the region for generations, have told stories about these lights since time immemorial. They believe they are the spirits of tribal warriors who died in ancient battles. But early European settlers had a different theory. They believed the lights were the souls of miners who died in accidents, eternally searching for a way back home. Modern scientists have tried everything to explain the phenomenon. Some cite natural gases escaping from rocks. Others blame the reflections of distant car headlights. But no theory can explain how the lights can change direction as if they had a life of their own, or why they only appear on specific nights. Number 9. The Prime Minister who disappeared at sea. On December 17, 1967, Australia was shocked. Harold Holt, the country's Prime Minister, disappeared without a trace while swimming at Cheviot Beach near Melbourne. Witnesses saw Holt, then 59, wade into the choppy water. Seconds later, he was gone. One of the largest searches in Australian history was organized. Helicopters, ships, and divers searched every inch of the sea for 3 days straight. They found nothing, not even a piece of clothing. The Prime Minister's body was never recovered. Theories about Holt's disappearance are wild. Some say he faked his own death, others say he was kidnapped by a Chinese submarine. The official explanation is that he drowned in the treacherous waters, but without a body, the mystery continues to fuel conspiracies to this day. Number 8. The Mystery of the Shroud of Turin. A 14-foot-long piece of linen cloth holds one of the most mysterious images in history. The Shroud of Turin shows the impression of the body of a man who appears to have suffered injuries identical to those described at Jesus' crucifixion, including nail marks on his wrists and feet and a spear wound in his side. In 1898, photographer Secondo Pia made a shocking discovery. When he developed photographs of the shroud, he realized that the image functioned like a photographic negative. How could someone in the Middle Ages create an image with this characteristic? Centuries before the invention of photography. Carbon-14 tests in 1988 dated the cloth to between 1260 and 1390 AD, long after the time of Jesus. But proponents of the shroud's authenticity argue that the samples were contaminated. Modern thermal analysis shows patterns consistent with a real body, and no one has been able to explain how the image was created. Number 7. The Island of the Missing. Somewhere in the remote ocean lies an island that seems to devour people. Several expeditions have attempted to explore the site over the years, but they have all ended in the same terrifying way. The explorers have disappeared without a trace. The only clue to what may have happened is a disturbing photograph found on a camera floating near the shore. The image shows towering, skeletal, alien-like figures standing next to what appear to be the bodies of the missing explorers. No one knows how to explain the photo. Authorities avoid the region, and the island does not even appear on official maps. The mystery only increases when boats passing too close begin to have problems with their navigation equipment. Number 6. Stardust's Last Message. In 1947, a plane called the Stardust disappeared over the Argentine Andes, leaving behind only a mysterious message. The last radio contact was a single word in Morse code, Stendek. No one knew what it meant, and the plane disappeared into the icy mountains. For 50 years, the Stardust was lost. In 1998, the wreckage was finally found on the Tupungato Glacier. But instead of solving the mystery, the discovery only raised more questions. What made the pilot send that strange message seconds before the crash? Rumors about the plane's cargo, which included diamonds and secret political documents, have only added to the mystery. Some believe Stendek was an emergency code. Others think the pilot was trying to warn about something he saw in the sky. Half a century later, no one can explain what happened on that fatal flight. Number 5. The Kentucky Meat Rain. On March 3, 1876, residents of Bath County, Kentucky witnessed something that defies logic. Meat began to rain from the sky. Over the course of several minutes, large chunks of what appeared to be venison or mutton fell over an area approximately 300 feet by 150 feet. Mrs. Allen Crouch was in her backyard making soap when the bizarre phenomenon began. Soon, neighbors gathered to witness the macabre spectacle, and samples of the mysterious meat were collected for analysis. Local scientists quickly dismissed the theory that vultures had regurgitated the meat. The amount was simply too large. Some people suggested that a tornado or waterspout could have transported the meat, but that theory didn't make sense given the isolated location. More absurd explanations emerged. Cannibals in a hot air balloon? Divine punishment in the form of manna from heaven? The mystery was made even deeper by the complete absence of bones or feathers along with the meat. To this day, no one has been able to explain how dozens of pounds of fresh meat simply appeared out of nowhere on a quiet day in Kentucky. Number 4. The Impossible Book. The Voynich manuscript is a 15th century book that defies all logic. Its 240 pages are filled with texts written in a language that no one can identify and illustrations of plants that exist nowhere else in the world. The manuscript is named after Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish merchant who found it in 1912. Tests date the parchment to between 1404 and 1438, but the contents read like something out of a science fiction movie. It features impossible astronomical diagrams, strange creatures and symbols that don't resemble any known alphabet. Even the world's best cryptographers can't decipher the text. Computers with artificial intelligence have tried, but to no avail. In 2019, Yale University made the manuscript available online, hoping that someone would finally figure out its secret. So far, nothing. Number 3. The Ghost Ship of the Arctic. In 2006, a team of Arctic researchers had a disturbing encounter with the impossible. During a routine mission, their instruments detected a giant ship moving beneath the ice. The problem? They were in the middle of a layer of solid ice more than 10 meters thick. The sensors weren't broken. They clearly picked up the metallic signature of a cargo ship moving at 10 knots. The researchers were even able to calculate its dimensions. Almost 200 meters long, but how could a ship of that size sail through solid ice as if it weren't even there? Robot divers sent to investigate found nothing but ice. There were no tunnels, no caves, no space for a ship to pass through. The ghost of the Arctic simply vanished, leaving only traces on the equipment and a lot of scientists scratching their heads. Number 2. The Red Lake of Siberia. In 2016, pilots flying over a remote region of Siberia came across something bizarre. A lake had turned blood red overnight. Lake Berlinskoye, which had always been blue, turned tomato red. Locals woke up thinking the apocalypse had happened. The craziest part is that this lake is 13 kilometers long and changes color every year. Scientists have discovered that this happens because of a microorganism called Dunaliella salina, which releases a red pigment to protect itself from the sun. But the strange thing is that this creature only appears in very salty water. And this lake is in the middle of Siberia, far away from the sea. The most incredible thing is that locals have been using this lake to extract salt for over 300 years. They say that sometimes the lake glows in the dark and makes strange noises, like popping and buzzing. In 2018, scientists found ruins of an ancient civilization at the bottom of the lake that no one knew existed there. Number 1. The Sound of the Deep. In 1997, NOAA hydrophones picked up something bizarre in the depths of the Pacific. A sound so loud and low that it was detected by sensors thousands of miles away. Scientists called it the bloop. The sound lasted about a minute and was louder than anything ever recorded in the oceans. It was too loud to be a whale, too unusual to be an underwater explosion. The frequency and pattern matched nothing known to science. In 2012, NOAA researchers suggested that the bloop could have been caused by ice breaking off Antarctica, but many people don't buy that explanation. The sound was too different from other ice-breaking sounds. Some say the bloop is proof that there's a giant creature lurking in the depths of the ocean that science has yet to discover. Which of these items we showed you here shocked you the most? Tell me below in the comments. Now, take advantage and click on this video that is appearing on the screen. Take advantage of the fact that I have separated it especially for you. Well, that's it, and until next time, curious one.